Welcome everyone to a story that blurs the line between a chilling crime and a supernatural nightmare. Today, we journey to a place steeped in both breathtaking beauty and terrifying legend. The forest of Horrifying in Romania. This isn't just any forest. It's often called the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania, a place where the veil between our world and another seems terrifyingly thin. For decades, it has been the epicenter of unexplained phenomena, but one story stands out, a tale of disappearance so bizarre, so unsettling, that it has fueled whispers of a haunting curse for generations. Our story begins with a simple shepherd. Imagine the scene. A tranquil day. The sun filtering through the dense canopy of trees, the gentle bleating of sheep echoing through the woods. The shepherd, a local man familiar with every twist and turn of the forest, leads his flock of 200 sheep into the heart of Horrifying. He was seen by several villagers entering the forest's edge, a routine he had performed countless times. But on this day, something was different. The shepherd, along with his entire flock of 200 sheep, vanished without a trace. Think about that for a moment. Not just one person, but a man and 200 animals. Gone. A massive search was launched immediately. Villagers, local authorities, and experienced trackers combed every inch of the forest. They scoured the clearings, peered into the dense thickets, and called his name until their voices were hoarse. They found nothing. No footprints leading astray. No signs of a struggle. No scattered wool, not a single clue to suggest what had happened. It was as if the man and his flock had simply been erased from existence. How could this be? The logical explanations were quickly exhausted. A sudden, violent attack by predators. Unlikely. A pack of wolves or bears might take a few sheep, but 200. And what about the shepherd? There would have been a fight. Evidence. Something left behind. Did he simply get lost? He was a seasoned local who knew these woods like the back of his hand. Did he run away? Why would he abandon everything, including his livelihood? And how could he move 200 sheep without anyone noticing? The absence of evidence was, in itself, the most terrifying evidence of all. As days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, the official investigation stalled, with no leads and no body. The case grew cold, relegated to the dusty archives of unsolved mysteries. But for the people living in the shadow of Horrifying, the story was just beginning. They didn't need a police report to know what happened. They looked to the forest, to the ancient whispers passed down through generations. They believed the forest itself had taken him. This wasn't just a disappearance. It was the work of a curse. The legends surrounding Horrifying are as old as the trees themselves. Locals speak of a malevolent energy, a lingering presence that watches from the shadows. They tell stories of strange, twisted trees that seem to defy the laws of nature, of eerie lights dancing between the trunks at night, and of disembodied voices whispering on the wind. For many, the shepherd's disappearance was not an anomaly. It was a confirmation of their deepest fears. The forest was hungry, and it had claimed another victim. The area where the shepherd vanished became known as a dead zone. Compasses spin wildly, electronic devices fail without reason, and people who venture there report overwhelming feelings of anxiety, nausea, and the unnerving sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Some have even reported seeing a spectral figure, a lone man wandering among the trees, forever searching for his lost flock. Is this the ghost of the vanished shepherd, trapped between worlds, a permanent resident of the forest that consumed him? Years later, the mystery deepened. A 5-year-old girl who had wandered away from her family and disappeared into the same forest suddenly reappeared 5 years later. She was found wandering near the edge of the woods, wearing the exact same clothes she had on the day she vanished. They were clean, untorn, and she hadn't aged a single day. When questioned, she had no memory of the past 5 years. Where had she been? What had she experienced? Her story, while offering a sliver of hope, only added another layer of inexplicable dread to the legend of Horrifying. Could these events be connected? Was the young girl's return a glimpse into the strange temporal anomalies reported in the forest, a place where time itself seems to warp and bend? Did the shepherd and his flock slip through a similar crack in reality? Only they never found their way back. The forest holds its secrets close, its silence a testament to the mysteries it keeps. We are left with more questions than answers. Was the shepherd the victim of a simple, albeit unexplained, accident? Or did he stumble upon something far more sinister? A force that resides within the ancient woods of Hojabachu, a force that doesn't distinguish between man and beast, a curse that occasionally reaches out to claim the unsuspecting. The story of the shepherd and his 200 sheep has become a cornerstone of the forest as dark folklore, a chilling campfire tale that feels all too real. It serves as a stark reminder that there are corners of our world that we may never fully understand, places where logic fails and the whispers of the supernatural grow loud. The Hojabachu forest continues to draw in paranormal investigators, thrill seekers, and the morbidly curious, all hoping to catch a glimpse of the truth, but they are always warned. Do not stray from the path. Because in this forest, the trees have eyes, the shadows have teeth, and sometimes people simply vanish, leaving behind nothing but a haunting story and an unsolvable mystery. The curse of Hojabachu endures, waiting for its next chapter to be written. What do you believe happened to the shepherd? Was it a crime of this world, or a phenomenon from another? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the heart of one of the world's most terrifying mysteries. If you are captivated by this story, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the unknown. Stay safe and stay curious. Have you ever heard of a place so cursed it seems to swallow people whole? Today, we're diving into a story that starts in a quiet, unassuming town, but quickly spirals into a chilling mystery tied to ancient voodoo rituals. This is the true, baffling case of Clementine Barnabet and the Voodoo Axe murders. Our story begins in the early 1910s, in the heart of Louisiana and Texas. A wave of terror gripped the region as entire families were found brutally murdered in their own homes, all with the same horrifying signature: an axe. The communities were paralyzed with fear. Who could commit such heinous acts? The police were stumped, with no leads, no motives, and no witnesses. The crimes were so savage, so seemingly random, that locals began to whisper about dark forces at play, a supernatural evil stalking them in the night. Then, in 1912, a young woman named Clementine Barnabet came forward with a confession that was more terrifying than anyone could have imagined. She was only 19 years old, but she claimed to be the mastermind behind dozens of these brutal axe murders. Her confession wasn't just a simple admission of guilt, it was an entry into a secret, sinister world. Clementine told investigators that she wasn't just a killer. She was a priestess in a secretive voodoo cult known as the Church of Sacrifice. According to Clementine, the murders weren't random acts of violence. They were ritual sacrifices. She claimed she was given a conjure bag, a small pouch filled with magical herbs and items, which she believed made her invisible and granted her superhuman strength. She described how she and other members of the cult would sneak into homes, not to steal, but to carry out these gruesome rituals, believing it would grant them immortality and other supernatural powers. The axe, she explained, was their chosen instrument of sacrifice. Investigators were initially skeptical. How could this young woman be responsible for such a widespread and brutal crime spree? But as she detailed the crimes, she provided information that only the killer could have known. She described the layouts of the victims' homes, the specific details of the crime scenes, and even the positions of the bodies. The police were forced to take her claims seriously. They had found strange symbols drawn at some of the crime scenes, and items that could be interpreted as part of a ritual, which now, in light of her confession, seemed to fit perfectly. Clementine's story painted a picture of a highly organized group. She named other members, including her own father, Raymond Barnabet, whom she described as the cult's high priest. When police arrested Raymond, he too confessed, corroborating parts of Clementine's story and implicating others. It seemed the case was finally cracking open. The cult, they said, had a strict code. They drew lots to determine who would carry out the next sacrifice, and Clementine claimed she was often chosen. But here is where the mystery deepens. As the investigation continued, Clementine's story began to change. She would retract her confession, only to confess again later with new, conflicting details. She implicated more people, then claimed they were innocent. Was she a manipulative mastermind playing games with the police? A disturbed young woman suffering from delusions? Or was she a terrified pawn in a much larger, darker organization, trying to protect herself or others? Her credibility was constantly in question. Despite the inconsistencies, Clementine was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Her father, Raymond, was also found guilty, but the convictions didn't solve the mystery. Many of the people Clementine named were never charged due to a lack of evidence beyond her word. The supposed Church of Sacrifice seemed to vanish as quickly as it had appeared. No definitive proof of its existence, outside of the Barnabotes' confessions, was ever found. Were there dozens of other cult members still out there, free and unaccountable? And then, the final, most unsettling twist. After serving about 10 years in prison, Clementine Barnabet simply disappeared. In 1923, she was granted a temporary leave from the Louisiana State Penitentiary, and she never returned. Records of her release are vague, and there's no trace of what happened to her afterward. Did she escape? Was she quietly released? Or did the remnants of her cult, if it ever existed, come back for their priestess? She vanished from history, leaving a legacy of terror and a mountain of unanswered questions. So, what are we left with? Was Clementine Barnabet a prolific serial killer and voodoo priestess? Or was she a scapegoat, a mentally ill young woman railroaded by a panicked legal system desperate to close a series of horrifying cases? The evidence of voodoo rituals, like the conjure bag, and the sacrificial nature of the killings, point to something beyond a simple murder spree. The lack of concrete evidence for the cult and Clementine's own unreliable testimony leave the truth shrouded in doubt. This case forces us to confront the line between reality and belief, between crime and ritual. The story of Clementine Barnabet and the Voodoo Axe murders remains one of America's most bizarre and unsolved true crime legends. A chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we can't fully understand. What do you think really happened? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and if you found this story as fascinating as I did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more dives into the unknown. Stay curious and stay safe. Have you ever scrolled through the internet late at night and stumbled upon a photo that just sticks with you? A picture that makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and suddenly, every creak in your house sounds like a footstep. Today, we're diving deep into the world of paranormal photography, exploring some of the most famous and, frankly, terrifying images ever captured. Are they hoaxes, tricks of the light, or something more? Let's find out. Our first stop is the mysterious Solway Firth spaceman. In 1964, a man named Jim Templeton took a picture of his young daughter in a field in Cumbria, England. When he got the film developed, he was shocked. Standing behind his daughter was a figure in what looked like a white spacesuit. Jim swore no one else was there. Kodak even analyzed the negative and confirmed it hadn't been tampered with. The official explanation: it was likely Jim's wife, who was present that day, overexposed in the background, her blue dress appearing white. But the figure's proportions seemed strange, almost non-human. And why didn't Jim, the photographer, see her? To this day, the image remains a haunting enigma. Next, we travel to Corroboree Rock in Australia, the site of a truly unsettling photograph taken in 1959 by Reverend R.S. Blantz. He was trying to capture the stark beauty of the landscape, but what he developed was something else entirely. Floating midair is a semi-transparent, shrouded figure. It looks like a person wearing a long gown, holding something that resembles binoculars or a camera. Skeptics suggest it's a simple case of double exposure, an image accidentally superimposed over another. But Blantz was an experienced photographer and insisted he hadn't made such a mistake. The figure has a strange, ethereal quality, and its context in this remote, sacred location adds a layer of profound mystery. It seems to be observing, watching from a place just beyond our own reality. Let's move from photos to video, with a clip that still gives people chills. The Disneyland ghosts. Security footage from the world's happiest place captured something decidedly unhappy. A spectral, human-like figure is seen slowly walking across the water of the rivers of America, attraction after the park is closed. The figure is faint, almost transparent, and moves with an unnatural, gliding motion before disappearing. Some have tried to debunk it, suggesting it's a reflection, a digital glitch, or even a spiderweb close to the lens. Yet, the way it moves with such deliberate purpose is hard to dismiss. It looks like a lost soul, forever wandering the park. Given the numerous urban legends about ghosts at Disneyland, this footage feels like a glimpse into a hidden, spectral side of the Magic Kingdom. Our final case is perhaps one of the most famous ghost photographs ever taken, the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, captured in 1936 by photographers from Country Life magazine. This image purports to show the ghost of Lady Dorothy, who was locked away in Raynham Hall until her death in 1726. The photographers were setting up to take a picture of the grand staircase when one of them suddenly shouted, seeing a vaporous form descending the steps. He instructed his partner to snap the picture. The result is the iconic image of a shrouded ethereal figure on the stairs. It's been intensely debated for decades. Some claim it as a classic double exposure or even a smudge of grease on the lens. However, the photographers were professionals who stood by their story, and the negative has been examined numerous times. The clarity and form of the figure are what make it so compelling and so terrifying. It's not just a blur, it's a presence. So what are we to make of these images? Are they clever fakes? Simple misunderstandings? Or are they genuine snapshots of the world beyond our senses? The spaceman might just be an overexposed wife. The Corroboree rock figure, a double exposure. The Disneyland ghost, a camera artifact. And the Brown Lady, a well-executed hoax. These logical explanations exist, and they are plausible. But they don't explain everything. They do you unexplain the feeling you get when you look at them, the chilling sense that you're seeing something you're not supposed to see. They don't explain the eyewitness accounts of seasoned professionals who swore what they saw was real. The power of these images lies in that uncertainty, in the space between what we know and what we fear. They challenge our perception of reality and force us to ask, what if there's more to this world than meets the eye? Perhaps the truth is that some things are meant to remain a mystery, forever lurking in the shadows of a photograph, waiting to be found late at night, and to make us question everything. They serve as a permanent reminder that even in our modern, scientific world, there are still corners filled with unexplained and unsettling wonders. What do you think? Are these proof of the paranormal, or just clever tricks? Let me know your theories in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this and want to explore more mysteries, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive. Stay curious and maybe keep the lights on tonight. See you next time.